What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing fine in these weird times. I am Nostalgia95 and I come at you with another Digimon video. This one will be a bit different than our usual videos, that is why I don't even really know in which playlist I should put it. It'll be different probably because I said I wasn't going to do much research on this one when I announced it in the Nostalgia95 community page. What I wanted to do here is take a look at some pirate related Digimon and create a small story of some sort to ultimately make a point. I want to do so because I believe that these Digimon not only have great potential for storytelling, I also think that the Digimon seas could potentially be one of the most important places that need to be kept in check, because so many parties are somehow either directly or indirectly related to these waters, and all it would take is just one small event that could potentially spark a major tragedy that could even make non-Digimon fans more curious when it comes to Digimon. Let me quickly give you a real-life example. I am sure all of you are familiar with the First World War, also known as the Great War. A very damaging occurrence. One of the reasons why this war was such a tragedy for mankind is because the European countries already experienced certain tensions, and one event quickly sparked the other until it became a major all-scale war. Among the causes you had this complex web of alliances and alignments, a growth in nationalism, there were numerous territorial disputes, just to say the least. And after making these over 100 Digimon videos, I quickly understood that these tensions that caused the First World War pretty much exist in the Digimon universe. In fact, I would even say that in the Digimon universe it could be way worse in so many ways. It could mean a total collapse of that universe, and there are many reasons to say that. Just look at the population and you'll get somewhat of a glimpse of potential challenging events to come. We're talking about a universe where demons and angels are pretty much a thing, and these biblical/religious wars are not just a quote-unquote tale that is being told. No, they are there, and these beings are ready to clash at any given time, involving many of their families. We are talking about a universe where the old is fusing with the new. Ancient dragons are combining their bodies with future technology we don't even have. Don't mind talking about their destructive capabilities. There are many parties that can be involved if mistakes were made, and these conflicts can happen either in the depths of the Digimon Hell, also known as the Dark Area, or they could happen near the digital oceans, where you'll find pirates and more aquatic creatures. Now, before diving into our subject, I want to stress out the following. When it comes to the Digimon universe, you need to understand that it is this place that lives its own life. In most Digimon stories, humans are only summoned to play the role of interventionist, to come in between a conflict or to prevent one from emerging. Normally there are no humans involved, or they shouldn't be, in which case all Digimon needs to find ways to fend for themselves. To fend for yourself in a universe that has no rules, well, aside of the famous survival of the fittest one, you may tell yourselves, well, a Digimon can simply digivolve into a stronger form and raise its chances to stay alive. And I would say yes, they could, but digivolving is a process that is so difficult that it actually barely happens. That is why Digimon have more chances to stay alive by organizing themselves in groups, which sometimes have a form of hierarchy. In fact, the most powerful groups in Digimon have a hierarchical structure, and it is these Digimon groups that, if they were to be brought into a tension-based position, one event will easily lead to the other. Unless humans are involved, but in this case we're going to exclude them. So I'm quickly going to invent a story where no humans are involved or only have a minimal influence, and where I just took some random information out of certain Digimon stories or Digimon profiles. You will quickly find out how a clash in the Digimon Ocean could potentially blow out of proportion relatively quickly. Our tale begins with our first pirate Digimon named Regalecusmon. The Digimon is one who, as you can expect from a pirate, loves to repeatedly assault and loot the feeding ground and territories of other Digimon. That alone will naturally bring tensions to certain other Digimon groupings and stress them to organize themselves in reaction to those lootings. Regalecusmon, however, made one error which will have a lasting impact. For reasons that have yet to be revealed, there was a fight between Regalecusmon and Zudomon. The latter's horn was violently torn off and Regalecusmon took off. Zudomon's horn is one that is impossible to regrow and became the pride of that Digimon and its family. Speaking of, what you have to know about Zudomon is that it is a Digimon belonging to the Ikakumon and Zudomon Corps, managed by the Viking Digimon Vikimon. Vikimon is one who appears as a heartless berserker in the midst of battle, but is one who shows a great compassion for its subordinates. So you can imagine a Vikimon seeing Zudomon, God knows if it's alive, with a missing horn and completely messed up. Vikimon, with its immense pride and sadness, could have prepared an army of Ikakumon and Zudomon to chase after the one who humiliated one of their brethren, though the Viking was not a fool. You see, as Regalecusmon looted many communities, some proposed to forge an alliance with Vikimon. The only issue would be that Vikimon's family does not have that much credibility and could also be seen as a looter of some sort. Sure, Zudomon's horn was torn off, but know that the shell it is carrying on its back, in fact the shell many Zudomon are carrying, are the shells of the reptile Digimon Olegmon, a Digimon that is rarely assaulted by enemies, but for reasons, Zudomon made it tradition to use that strong shell for military purposes. As a result, some Digimon grew wary and decided to form alliances with other Digimon, as Vikimon, according to some, was not to be trusted. A clueless Vikimon did not know who the aggressor was and asked a squad of its subordinates to set sail in search for a Digimon they did not know. It did receive some hints from other Digimon groups during their urgent meeting in the Great Cold Hall. As some were victims of Regalecusmon's doing, they might as well share what they know. The problem is that there was no general consensus among the members. Some of the Digimon representatives of the various communities deliberately tried to give false information, as Vikimon's self-proclaimed title of Governor of the Permafrost was not appreciated by many. It looks to be in a Digimon's nature to somehow find a way to rival authority, a bit the same as in the Dark Area, where at this point, everything looked relatively calm, and that is not the best of signs. The 7 Demon Lords are said to be the chief nobility, and each member has the right to command legions of nightmare soldiers if they so wish. And at this point, Grand Dracmon became so powerful that even the 7 Great Demon Lords did not interfere with its affairs, whatever they may be. Though, Grand Dracmon's current location is shrouded in mystery. A mysterious figure was spotted there. Melomayotusmon, also once said to be powerful enough to resist another's authority. It just stood there with a smile as it allowed one of its associates to travel outside of the Dark Area with a gift that took the form of a very mysterious cage. Ultimately, Vikimon sent a squad with a rather questionable intel concerning the location of Regalecusmon. They will sail, or they will swim, as all of the Vikimon families are perfect swimmers, to find who they presume to be the one who took Zudomon's horn and put an end to the looting. Another concern was brought on the table by an Icemon representative. Recently, there were many avalanches coming from the highest mountain in the Digimon Polar region. It is said that an ancient Digimon resides there, a Digimon whose temper could cause unexplained thunder or avalanches, and those natural disasters became more frequent and heavier. What caused the ancient Digimon to have such an ill temper? Hookmon is a pirate whose right hand became a hook-shaped claw and its left hand became a cannon due to its mentor's intervention. Its arms were severely damaged in a clash it had with a Digimon called Petermon and its associate Tinkermon. To understand what happened, we'll have to get back in the past. Petermon as a champion is the leader of a group of other childish Digimon and leader of Never Everland. It brought these other Digimon together by tempting them to never digivolve and to work together to build a society exclusively for them. The Digimon, along with its partner Tinkermon, may look pure and its wish may sound to be one of good intentions, but as we say, don't let the looks fool you. At the moment a Digimon decides to oppose Petermon's ideology, Petermon will beat them. It will also crush anyone who breaks their promises. And along with Tinkermon, it will do whatever is necessary to enforce its will on those poor Digimon. Hookmon, in its rookie form, which we'll call Rookie Hookmon for the sake of the story, was a member of that group. It was mesmerized by Tinkermon, who took advantage of it by silently casting what is known as Pitamon Syndrome, a syndrome making infantilized Digimon give in to Pitamon's temptations and leads them to Never Ever Land. And after a while, rookie Hookmon began to develop conflicting ideas and saw through the deception. That led into it wanting to leave that area. As Pitamon was the only Digimon to be in the champion level, no Digimon in Never Ever Land could even dream of opposing it, not even if they had staged a coup d'etat. Rookie Hookmon did receive help by another Digimon to escape this prison. However, Pitamon proved too clever a leader. Word quickly traveled to its ears and a clash emerged between Pitamon and Rookie Hookmon, who ended up escaping but had both its arms heavily damaged to a point of making them useless. And the fate of the Digimon helping Rookie Hookmon's escape is a sad one. There is some irony here. Some Digimon who were victims of Regalecusmon's looting ended up changing locations and accidentally entered Never Ever Land, believing it was a safe harbor, but instead was a dangerous cult. A broken Rookie Hookmon was found by the crew members of Captain Hookmon and brought in. Captain Hookmon is a pirate Digimon said to excel in the art of survival, a gentleman in nature who is not brutal enough to challenge one to an unreasonable battle. Its problem, however, lies mostly on its duty to support its subordinates' ways. A broken Rookie Hookmon informed that it was attacked by someone named Pitamon, a name Captain Hookmon knew all too well. Pitamon along with Tinkermon were the same old two crewmates who traveled along with the good captain. Both were very cheerful. They were very imaginative in their minds, always imagining themselves facing sea monsters. Their cheerfulness was well appreciated. It was what Captain Hookmon's crew needed to lift up the spirits of those on deck, as the good captain knew they were about to face some problems. The relation between Tinkermon, Pitamon and the crew changed for unknown reasons after an exploration mission in an abandoned town. They ventured in this old library by themselves only to be welcomed by Phantomon. The three had a very brief interaction, and once the two crewmates returned to the crew, they were different. They looked sad and shocked at the same time. Captain Hookmon did not react considering the state of the town they were in. Everything was destroyed and abandoned. It was very normal for the two youngsters to look the way they did, so the gentle captain did not mind asking them about their feelings. Whatever Phantomon might have said, it had heavily influenced Pitamon and Tinkermon's decision to quit the crew the following day. Hookmon, now a champion Digimon, was well treated and taken care of by Captain Hookmon's crew. It got a hook and a cannon and developed similar ideas of exploring the Digimon waters with its own ship and crew. An idea it might also have gotten from its experience in Never Ever Land, remembering how warm it felt to be surrounded by a family. Well, that is before it turned into a dangerous cult. Hookmon, now with its own crew, crossed paths with a treasure hunter known as Octomon, a Digimon that was lucky enough to have a body allowing it to dive deep in the net ocean, an area only few Digimon could reach. In their interaction, Octomon explained to Hookmon that there is this island on top of a white marine Digimon, an island almost impossible to find that has its own inhabitants and also presumably some interesting artifacts. A nice course to go to if one so wishes to explore the net ocean and own the title of pirate. Hookmon, very thrilled of the idea, convinced Octomon to join them in their pursuit for that island. The Hookmon crew were first headed for the nearest town to stock on items and maybe ask for information concerning that island on top of a Digimon, until they were stopped by a horrifying sight. They saw an unconscious Archalemon just drifting in the ocean. King Waymon is a white variant of the Waymon family, a Digimon that is special for many reasons. It carries a mysterious tropical island on its back, which fused with its shell and expanded to cover its lower jaw. The island has inhabitants and harbors a mysterious object known as the Code Crown, whose function is known only by a few outside the island and a few inside. Archalemon was an elder in the island along with its longtime good friend Digimon, a Digimon with a lot of knowledge concerning the history of the digital world. The current whereabouts of Digimon at this moment are unknown, as King Waymon was under attack by a division of the Bagra army, strangely led by the god of the net ocean, Neptunemon, a god Digimon that trespassed a server where it does not belong. The clash was one with many casualties. After all, it was an island that did not know violence for a long while, and its inhabitants lived relatively peacefully and glorified King Waymon for that in numerous traditional events. That is why they were not prepared for the Bagra army's sudden organized attack. They did not envision that there was this possibility that the island could come to an end. Some islanders barely escaped the attack and found their way to the mainland. The rest of the islanders stayed to provide a last line of defense and an escape route for those who are not capable of fighting. Digimon as one of the elders was not to be found on the island anymore. Olegmon as another elder was forced to escape, as its knowledge about the content of the island was important to be kept alive to warn stronger Digimon about the incoming threat. As an elder who barely escaped an assault by the Bagra army, it swam as far as it could until it lost itself in the huge net ocean. Almost blind and senile, still it could see a group of Zudomon moving in a particular direction that was difficult to tell considering Olegmon was lost. It recognized the shell on their back and remembered how some of its skin went missing, never to return. So Olegmon decided to move the opposite way, but out of fatigue and out of being an elder, it lost consciousness. Just like how Hookmon was taken care of by Captain Hookmon, Olegmon was pulled out of water and given treatment. It were, however, the last minutes of Olegmon. In its dying breath, it told Hookmon about the island on top of King Waymon and what the court crown was all about, and warned about the dangerous nature of Zudomon. "They killed my kin," were Olegmon's last words before disappearing. Word spread about what happened due to those other Digimon who escaped what is now known as the Island Zone Massacre, an island who sunk underneath the Digimon Ocean. This led to some individual Digimon and Digimon groups to adapt accordingly. As Neptunemon, an Olympus 12 god Digimon that shouldn't even be in the server, was spotted near King Waymon, word quickly traveled to the Royal Knights. 2 members were asked by King Yggdrasil to investigate the issue and see whether Neptunemon's presence can be confirmed. Obviously, the entire group cannot be deployed, that would be unwise. Rumors can be just that, rumors. And at the same time, King Yggdrasil was warned by its longtime ally Shakamon, protector of the Eastern digital world, of a recent event. Azulongmon, a subordinate, got imprisoned by the Dark Masters. Something which should not be possible, as in the past they were all defeated. Shakamon believed the Dark Masters came back because of third parties. It reassured King Yggdrasil that a team volunteered to investigate this affair. Even if there was enough reason to feel concerned about the Digimon Sovereign being imprisoned, King Yggdrasil was still more worried about the rumors of Neptunemon's presence. That would mean that the Digimon host computer of Homeros, supreme leader of the server Iliad, could be directly involved in Yggdrasil's internal affairs. That would mean that there was a direct sovereignty violation with potential consequences that would be too big to imagine. During the Island Zone Massacre deep inside the Net Ocean, the Crack team had a head start, as they could observe the event from a safe distance thanks to their advanced technology. And the team was waiting for the precise moment to use the poison of Neptunemon's colleague, Regalecusmon. Using its poison at the right moment would not only cause chaos among the Olympus 12 members, it would also cause chaos among the Royal Knight members and thus Yggdrasil. How could Regalecusmon ever explain that its poison was used in another server, a universe they aren't allowed to enter? Just like in geopolitics, there is a certain profit you can get by creating confusion and chaos. That is what the Crack team are waiting for, the right moment to create confusion and chaos. When it comes to the side of the Bagra army, even that group seems to be lacking in good faith towards one another. Some of its members have their own agenda, and one of the 3 Bagra army generals, Lilithmon, hid successfully its true allegiance, which was not towards the Bagra army itself, but towards the 7 demon lords, who were, like the crack team, waiting for the precise moment to make themselves known. A pirate ship was leaving what is now known as Goldland, a vast sea peppered with islands, all colored golden, an area that has its history. In a conversation between the pirate Olegmon and its first mate named Mermimon, who just came back from a scout, they discussed their next treasure hunt. A treasure whose value is more than just gold. A treasure that took the shape of a goat said to be the protector. Not much is known about that treasure or about the goat, only more a reason for Olegmon to be prepared. In case the protector Olegmon might prove more important than initially thought, Mermimon proposed to bring Mimicmon along. Mimicmon is a mutant Digimon that may look like an abandoned old cage, but inside those iron bars, numerous Digimon are sealed within. Sometimes those prisoners try to escape. That is why you might occasionally see a horn or a tentacle coming out. Who exactly might those Digimon inside be remains a mystery. There's no idea where Mimicmon actually came from or where it was found. Even Olegmon became rather curious, though that was for short term, as it really wanted that hidden treasure. With no concern whatsoever, Mermimon said to have received Mimicmon and the information of the goat protector Olegmon by someone who looked like another fellow pirate, but on a ship that had no crew. Just one Digimon who so happens to be as mysterious as Mimicmon, and who said goodbye with a suspicious smile. Now that is about it for the story. It is entirely Nostalgia 95 made. Too bad I could not make an animation out of it. It would have made more sense, and story-wise I could have made it much bigger with the few Digimon information I have, but the point of this video was just to tell you how much potential I believe Pirate Digimon can have when it comes to their involvement within the story. They don't have to be the main characters, but they can be those characters who play crucial roles when those Digimon oceans are involved as locations. I can see numerous scenarios where they spark something, where they demand the presence of other related or unrelated Digimon to sort of get into a mayhem of different involved parties, and these parties would also get their own time to shine. That way, you will get to know Digimon from numerous points of view. It would be very interesting. And just like that, you will see that little by little, other locations will also silently but certainly become important. I'm not just talking about the dark area, but also the Digimon Heavens, which, in my story at least, would normally take a more neutral position, a bit like the elves in the Lord of the Rings, but they would be forced to act because they, or at least their ex-members, are the ones who occupy parts of the dark area. The Angel family will have to take responsibility and acknowledge that their society is lacking something important. They will have to acknowledge that it was because of their mistake that many Digimon fell from grace and changed in darker Digimon who are ready to shake the very fabric of the Digimon universe. And important to know, these darker Digimon are not necessarily evil. But to explain that, I will have to bring together all Angel and Fallen Angel Digimon in a video to figure out what exactly caused a rebellion and what exactly caused Digimon to fall from grace. Anyway, maybe the biggest point I am trying to make is that I am hoping that the Digimon developers would work on a Digimon project that is a little bit like One Piece, because Digimon has that potential. Make it a big story where many characters are fleshed out and given attention, just like I'm trying to do with all these Digimon videos I've made so far and will make in the future. My biggest advice to the Digimon developers would be the following: let all those Digimon live their own lives. That's very important. Just from the Digimon wiki, there is so much very interesting information about the Digimon origins, the digital universe, the Digimon's characteristics and relations. Do something with it. Don't always involve humans, because once they become the centerpiece, the story will revolve mostly around them and not the many other magnificent Digimon that will have to be left in the dust. That's just me talking. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and put on the notification bell, because I usually communicate via posts in the community page, and sometimes I feel like they do not reach many people who, without a doubt, would have loved to contribute in one way or another. If you enjoyed my story and want me to continue, let me know in the comment section, and make sure to write your own Digimon pirate story. That would be very interesting to read, and who knows, maybe the Digimon developers might see those comments and get inspired to make another pirate Digimon related movie, video series, I don't know. Maybe someday with your support I might make an anime or a manga of it. I don't know, we'll see. Make sure to follow me on the social media platforms and Discord if you wish to chat with the Digimon community. I'll put a link towards it in the description box, and if you can, consider donating on Patreon, but take it easy, it's still a COVID period. And all my videos are placed in different, always updated playlists. Check them out to catch up.